Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU and welcome to my spoiler breakdown on episode 3 of WandaVision. If you, for some reason, have not seen episode 3 of the show yet, go watch my on-spoiler video. Not this video, because this video is going to be full spoilers for just about every scene of the episode. Much like what I did last week with the first two episodes, this video is going to go in depth on most of the scenes, break them down, find little Easter eggs, notice some lines of dialogue, give some theories. I'm just going to break down the entire episode in full spoilers. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get into it. So to my knowledge, this episode was based off the Brady Bunch. Don't hold me to that. I had to look it up, and that's what I found, is that it was based off the Brady Bunch. And it had my favorite title sequence so far, and it ended with saying WandaVision in color. And in that title sequence, we saw some shots of Wanda and Vision doing things to basically fill the gap between the second and third episode. They go get ice cream, they buy some like a crib and some stuff for the baby because Wanda's pregnant. They bike across town. And then Vision has this 70s haircut, which I absolutely loved his haircut. I think Paul Bettany rocked the 70s haircut. If you've seen the poster for the 80s episode, though, that's an unfortunate haircut. Okay, anyway, that's intro stuff. Now let's get into the meat of this episode. So first off, Herb is back, the neighbor, and he's cutting through the wall between their yards, which, then Vision pointed out they cut a little far, and Herb says, "Oh, I guess I did," and then keeps cutting. What was he doing? What's up? Something's wrong with Herb, and I'll touch on it a bit later, but Herb is not all there in this episode. Just figured I would mention that now. That happened when Vision was outside with the doctor. So he's outside for maybe 45 seconds. He comes back in, and Wanda is now bigger. So when it started, the doc told her, "You're 4 months pregnant." In the little amount of time Vision's gone, she goes to 6 months pregnant. I believe that's what they said, is she got up to 6 months. I forgot to write that down, but I remember hearing 6 months. And later on, Vision then mentions that at the rate she's growing, the baby should be due Friday. Not sure which day it is. A couple days before Friday, but it's not Friday yet, which is foreshadowing to the fact that the baby comes before Friday. And the two of them can't decide what to name the kid. Vision wants to name him Billy, and Wanda wants to name him Tommy, and then Wanda says that the only way to settle the argument would be for them to have a girl. They don't have a girl. They have twins, so they each get to, they get both names. But before the twins, before that even factors in, we get Wanda's contraction scene, which actually had a lot more in it than I thought. He starts out, Vision, there's this little funny scene where he does this to a baby doll. He's like, "I think we have an understanding." And then he changes it, and this doesn't even relate to anything. I just wrote down that I counted 3 seconds for him to get the new diaper on. Good job, Vision. And so Wanda has a contraction, and things start going crazy in the kitchen. Things are the sink's overflowing. I can't remember what exactly went wrong, but everything was being weird. And so the two of them run out of the kitchen, and I wrote down that I found it weird that an android and a witch would freak out and run out of the kitchen when Wanda could very clearly stop it. But that was without me even realizing that Wanda wasn't doing that. She didn't know what was happening. She wasn't doing that. Billy was. So Billy has his mom's powers, except instead of red magic, he has blue. So when he was in there growing and developing and being weird, he was causing all that stuff to go crazy, and Wanda didn't know what was going on. So after abandoning the kitchen, the two of them stand back to back, and it is the exact same pose as a cover from a really old comic. And I can't remember what the comic is. I was stupid and didn't write it down. But they stand back to back, so there's an image on screen right now of them and the pose in the show and the comic, so that's pretty cool. After this happens, Vision goes outside to check on the neighbors. And we get a couple cameos here. So Phil and Dottie come back. Dottie was, of course, in the second episode. She was the person who was leading like the talent show planning meeting and who also cut her hand on the glass. And she's married to Phil, who was the guy fired in the first episode and Vision's friend in the second episode. And then the power goes out and he feels happy because he doesn't have to answer Dottie's question about whether or not the earrings make her look fat. So Vision comes back inside, and this is where stuff starts to get juicy. So Wanda says that people always get close to discovering their secret. In the first episode it happened when Wanda was cooking and everything was floating in the air and Mrs. Hart almost saw. Second episode, numerous times, Dottie almost figured it out. At the talent show, they almost figured it out. And so she said, people are always so close to discovering, and Vision sits down. He says, I know what you mean. And then he says the line from the trailer, I think something's wrong here, Wanda. And then the next part I thought was just me being stupid and I accidentally bumped the remote and it skipped back a few seconds. But no. So Vision gets reset. He goes back to standing when the conversation started. He kind of glitches real quick. And then he starts talking about something completely different. And Wanda says, are our kids going to be synthezoid or human? And Vision says, no matter what they are, if they're like their mother, they'll be perfect. So the previous conversation never happened. And so now we get to decide if this was Wanda's doing or someone else's doing. In my mind, this was not Wanda's doing. Now, after this episode, and you'll see why later, but 100% Wanda created this reality, but she's not in complete control. I think she made it, and other forces found a way in, and they're now manipulating it. Whether that's Mephisto or Agnes, doesn't matter, right? But someone else is working, someone else is pulling strings, but Wanda made it. And we know Wanda can rewind stuff. She did in the last episode to get rid of Sword, and that was clearly Wanda. But why would she reset Vision? Because if he said something's wrong, that means it's a threat to their reality, which means it's a threat to him. And why would Wanda want to just make him forget a threat that could threaten her entire world and threaten Vision? She wouldn't want to do that. But someone else would do that because they don't want Vision and Wanda figuring stuff out. So I think whoever's behind the scenes saw Vision was onto something. They're like, oh, fix that, fixed it, Vision got reset. So after that, Wanda's water breaks, and then all the pipes in their house and all the pipes on their block all burst, and water's just pouring down. There's actually a couple theories on this. So one could be like a literal water break, that water broke, you know. But also, and this is the theory, and this really is now the question, because so far with the show, there's not really much that's out of the question. Everyone's had experience where something in real life comes into one of your dreams. The easiest example to give is the alarm clock. If you wake up to an alarm and you are in a dream, when the alarm goes off, the alarm might factor into your dream real quick before you wake up, right? So what if it was something like that? So what if in real life Wanda is pregnant? Now, how she got pregnant, how they're gonna, how she's gonna give birth when she's just kind of trapped in her own mind. Let's just not think about that for now, right? I mean, I have ideas of how it could happen, but I'm not 100% on them, and we might get more evidence later in the show, but let's just say Wanda's pregnant in real life, and her water broke. And the way that's factoring into the dream is by, literally, the pipes are breaking, and that's how it came into the dream. That could also help explain how her children are going to be real, because there's no way two characters that important to the comics are going to stay fake. Especially knowing what the MCU has planned later on and certain characters that are popping up and certain teams that are showing up. There's no way these two characters are fake. They have to be real somehow. And what if that's how? What if Wanda's actually pregnant? But after that, we get to the commercial. And the product this time is called Hydra Soak Luxury Bath Powder with the slogan, "Find the Goddess Within." The slogan obviously means something like all the other slogans do, and I think this is representing how Hydra used the Mind Stone on Wanda to unlock her powers in a way. They found the goddess within. Yes, Wanda's not a goddess, but whatever. Another one I've heard, I personally don't believe this, but if you do, that's cool. Not taking it away from you. That this could be a reference to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Season 4 when they were in the framework. Coulson said that the way Hydra gets people to kind of forget their lives, or kind of programming them, is that you take this soap, you use this soap Hydra makes, and I guess it makes you forget stuff or whatever. In the commercial, the mom was, taking that bath and just kind of forgetting about everything in her life, right? So it could be a reference to that. So personally, again, I don't think it is. But if you believe that, cool. All right, now let's get into the big stuff. So Monica Rambeau comes over, or I guess she's Geraldine within this world. And she needs a bucket because every pipe in her house burst. She needs one bucket. Remember that fact later. It's going to be important. And she doesn't notice obvious signs that Wanda's pregnant, which I don't know how she missed them, but she points out the crib and all that. But when Wanda says the baby's coming, Geraldine's like, "You're pregnant? What?" So yeah, that's a fun fact. Another thing I noticed, there's a stork wandering around the house a few minutes before Wanda gives birth, and made a movie about it. What's the whole deal? You tell your kids, storks deliver babies. Wanda's about to have a baby. Okay, then we get to the delivery scene, and things are going crazy in the house. And I don't think this is Billy doing it. I believe this one's Wanda. I think she's just screwing with things. And out pops kid number 1. And then, the cutest scene of the episode happens. So, Vision ran off to get the doctor. And they get back. And Vision says, "Oh, I missed it." And it was, Paul Bettany said it so well. It was so adorable. I loved it. It's one of those things you're like, let's just take that back 10 seconds. I want to hear that again. And so, Geraldine, takes the doctor. And she's like, "Hey, let's go into the kitchen." And I think it's weird why she would take the doctor, who's trained in this, into the kitchen. Get him out of the way. I don't know. I have no guesses on what it is. I mean, I even wrote later, maybe she talked to him about something, about why Wanda's birth was so accelerated. I don't know. I don't plan on knowing. He doesn't. I don't think I'll ever know. But he also doesn't think Vision's super speed is weird, so he just doesn't think anything, I guess. So Vision meets his son as himself. He takes off the facade, and it's, normal purple and green Vision with the Mind Stone. And names him Tommy, which is the name Wanda wanted, not the name Vision wanted. Then there's this funny part where right when they're about to kiss, Wanda screams again, "Baby 2's coming," and out pops Billy. They name him Billy. Little crash course, her twins are Speed and Wiccan, 2 very important members of the Young Avengers. And Wiccan's a big LGBT character, and basically point is these are 2 huge characters. Their growth is being accelerated so they can be on the Young Avengers. Wanda's going to find a way to have them in the real world. These 2 are not staying fake. They're going to be bigger. So Vision, everything's under control. And, babies are healthy. Vision's like, "I'll walk you home, doctor." And when they're leaving, he says he's probably not going to make the vacation after all because small towns, too hard to escape. That means something. 100%. There's no way that doesn't mean anything. But he says it so hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that it gets you thinking, is that referring to Wanda? Is it that she can't escape or that she won't escape? Personally, I think it's won't. I think she knows she's in a fake reality, which we'll even learn more about later. because of what happens at the very end of the episode. I think it's that she won't escape because she doesn't want to. And we get like the big climax, the third act of the episode, and this is where everyone pretty much agrees. This is where you get goosebumps straight for 10 minutes. So it cuts between Wanda and Geraldine inside and Vision, Agnes, and Herb outside. And Agnes and Herb are being all suspicious. And, Agnes is on the Vision and Wanda's side of the wall. Herb is on his side. And Agnes says something about Ralph. We have not seen Ralph, but Agnes keeps mentioning Ralph, which begs the question. You know what? It's not even a question. I'm 100% sure of this. I don't think I'm going to be wrong on this. I think Ralph is Mephisto. They talk about how Geraldine is a problem, and Vision says, well, what do you mean? And then we cut inside to Wanda and Geraldine, and Wanda's looking at her two kids right there, and she says, I'm a twin. She says, my brother was Pietro. And she says Pietro with her Sokovian accent. And then she sings a Sokovian lullaby to Billy and Tommy. And while she's singing it, something clicks in Monica's head. She realizes something. And that thing I'm wondering is, did it finally trigger? Did she finally remember why she's in this world? Because she definitely didn't go in knowing that was Wanda, that she's been friends with this whole time, because otherwise probably would have said something sooner and her face wouldn't look like that when she realized it was Pietro. Or the other one is, Monica did not realize that Wanda knew stuff outside of it. Monica probably could have thought that Wanda was not controlling this, so therefore Wanda has no memory of anything, but no. Wanda clearly remembers her past. She knows she's Sokovian. She knows she has a twin. She knows about Ultron, which we'll find out in a minute. So then Monica says he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And then Wanda, a tear on her eye. Also, it's worth noting before we go on, Elizabeth Olsen is great in this series. Like, she's acting in these episodes really well. Anyway, so Wanda says, what'd you say? And that's where it hits, I'm pretty sure this is where it hits Monica and the viewer. Wanda remembers. And so then we cut back outside, and Agnes says, Geraldine's new to town. She has no family and no husband. And Vision says, well, what's so wrong with that? And then Agnes says, no home. But Geraldine came over to get a bucket because all the pipes in her house burst. So what's up with that? Is that part of this act that Monica's doing? What could that be? And so then we cut back inside. And Wanda has officially realized that Monica is a problem. And she notices, Monica has a sword necklace on. And it's a necklace with the sword logo. And Wanda recognizes it because in episode 2, she saw it on the helicopter and on the back of the Beekeeper. So she knows the logo, so she asks what it is. And then, then we come back outside. And I documented every line of this next conversation because it was huge. And I'm like, okay, I want to know exactly what everyone was saying. So Vision says, what do you mean she has no home? And Herb says, she came because, and stops, and she came because, and Agnes looks super concerned. Almost as if at this moment Agnes is like, crap, cover's blown. Me and Mephisto are about to be outed. This is not going to go well. And Herb says she came here because we're all, and then Vision's like, what? What are you trying to tell me? Cut back inside, and Wanda says, what is that? And, her and Monica say a few words, and Wanda says, who are you? And Monica says, I don't, and then it sounds like Rem, like she's saying, I don't remember. Like she doesn't know that she's Monica Rambeau. So what's the deal with Monica? I mean, We're going to learn. We've seen a lot of Monica-centric stuff, but I think right now really, she's the most mysterious character of what's going on with Monica. We go back outside, and Herb says she came here because we're all, and then Agnes says, stop it, and shakes her head at Herb, like she's like, oh crap, Herb's about to rat us out, and then bam, done. Now, what was Herb trying to say? Fake, in Wanda's mind, not real, we don't know. But the real question, though, is Herb a manifestation of the reality? Did he come in outside? Or is he working with Agnes? That is the question. Personally, I don't think Herb is anyone of significance. Maybe Agnes has talked to him about some things, but he knows something he shouldn't know. And so then we go inside. Monica says, who are you? And Wanda looks. I mean, it is the same look that Wanda had in certain scenes of Age of Ultron. I mean, that's how not okay Wanda looked in this moment. And this is the part where the goosebumps, they just got worse and worse. And then we go back outside. Agnes says, well, I better get going. And Vision said, Herb? Trying to get him to give info. And Herb says, catch you on the flip side, Vision. And that's it. That's where that conversation ends. So Vision's like, what's up? So Vision lets go of the facade. He goes back inside. He needs to see what's happening. And he asks where Geraldine is. And Wanda is sitting there just looking at Billy and Tommy with the smile on her face and says, really calm, but also really creepy, oh, she left, honey. And I can't remember what the second part of the quote was. Is she going mad? This is the moment where a lot of people, including me, where we're like, Wanda's the bad guy. Vision's the good guy of this whole thing. Wanda's losing it. And so the aspect ratio then changes. 4:3 goes away. It goes full screen, and then the bars come down to give us widescreen. Because we're not in the sitcom anymore, so we don't need the aspect ratio that we've been having. And then we see outside Westview. It's at night, and the barrier opens, and Monica flies out of it, lands in a field where she's then approached by a sword convoy. And the music from the trailer starts playing. Are they hearing that outside? Because we know they're watching Wanda's sitcoms, right? And so that old school, that music starts playing. And so it zooms out a bit more, and they have lights on, or there's a tent, and there's a barrier that's like a TV static barrier, and there's these lights all around it, honed on it, that I think could be special lights so they can see the barrier. And that's the end of the episode. Right there, it goes to credits. So far, just more questions. We have piles of questions and no answers yet. But things we know, Wanda's clearly going mad. Monica's an outsider who got in somehow. Agnes is suspicious. Herb is suspicious. Wiccan and Speed are here. And Vision is the only person who we can trust at this point. But that's it. So next week we get episode 4, which is the 80s episode. And then after that, the Halloween episode. And then after that, we should get the 2000s episode. And then that might be the last of the sitcom ones, and then the last 3 will be real world. Really interested to see where it goes from here. The show just keeps getting more and more interesting, more and more questions, and I'm really excited to see where they take this. So guys, that's it. That is my spoiler breakdown, discussion, theories, all of that good stuff on episode 3 of WandaVision. I will see you next week to talk about episode 4. And now, as for you guys down in the comments below, let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know any theories you have, any thoughts you have, down in the comments below on this video. Also, leave a like on this, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCHQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.